Dear friends, in this video we are going to discuss about the expectations of clients from SAP Finance Consultant. In other words, what are the roles and responsibilities of SAP FI consultants in the real-time projects. In our previous videos, we have discussed very clearly about why to learn SAP FI module and what are the prerequisites and basic requirements for learning this SAP FI module. And also we have discussed regarding the advantages of learning SAP FI module. And finally we have discussed about who can learn this SAP FI module. And in this video we are going to discuss about clients' expectations from SAP Finance Consultants, or in other words, what are the roles and responsibilities of SAP Finance Consultant in the real-time environment. Let us discuss each and everything in detail in this video, because this is very important from the consultant's point of view, because nowadays all the clients are having great expectations from the finance consultants in any implementation, in any production support, or in any rollouts as well as upgrade projects in SAP. So we will discuss each and everything in detail, because this is very mandatory from the consultant's point of view. So let us start discussing one by one in detail. The first important responsibility is SAP FI consultants are responsible for handling the end-to-end project execution of SAP FI module. Similarly, all the SAP FI consultants are responsible for handling the end-to-end basic setup and configuration in SAP FI module. We will discuss each and everything in detail. They are highly responsible for handling the end-to-end project execution of SAP FI module. That means what? Starting from the scratch to the end, they have to handle end-to-end. That means they are having high responsibility in order to handle the end-to-end project execution of SAP FI module. Because in SAP FI module there are many configurations to be done. We have already discussed about various different configurations under SAP FI module. Once again, we will discuss all the important configurations which is to be implemented and which is to be carried out in the real-time system one by one. The second point is they are highly responsible for handling the end-to-end basic setup and configuration in SAP FI module. This is also we have stated as above, like many different configurations like AR process, AP process, and then general ledger accounting, reports, and asset and depreciation accounting, recurring entries, and some other important configurations in the FI module. And once again, one more responsibility is here we will discuss each and everything separately. They are highly responsible for handling the end-to-end general ledger configuration in SAP FI module. Because without general ledger accounts, we cannot post any transactions in SAP FI. Because we have discussed already in our previous videos regarding the same. General ledger accounts are the most important configuration to be done initially. Without general ledger accounts and without account groups, we cannot create or we cannot post any FI transactions in the real-time environment. So that is also considered to be one of the most important responsibility for responsibility of the SAP FI consultants. And one more important responsibility is they are highly responsible for implementing SAP accounts receivable as well as account payable processes. Under account receivable processes, we are having many different configurations like automatic payment program for customers in SAP FI module. Because remember that this AR processes is entirely used for handling customers in the SAP FI system because this is account receivables. Similarly, if we want to discuss about the AP module, they are also highly responsible for implementing the end-to-end account payable configuration in SAP FI module. There are many account payable configurations to be carried out in SAP FI module, namely automatic payment program configuration for vendors, dunning procedures for vendors, interest calculation program configuration for vendors, input tax configuration for vendors because this is vendor concept, so we have to create input tax. Similarly, all the SAP FI consultants are highly responsible for handling different validations in SAP FI module because validation is very mandatory because we have implemented many configuration. We have to implement many configuration in SAP FI system. So we have to validate each and every configuration what we have done in our SAP FI system. There are many different configurations to be done in the SAP FI system, namely general ledger accounting configuration, master records creation and customization. Similarly, the entire end-to-end AR and AP configurations. So we have to validate each and every configurations whatever we have implemented in the SAP FI system. So that is also one of the responsibility of the SAP FI consultants to validate all the important configurations what they have implemented in SAP FI system. We have discussed about different configurations in SAP FI. All the configurations, whatever they have implemented in SAP FI system, they should have to test or they should have to validate in the SAP FI system. And one more responsibility is all the SAP FI consultants are highly responsible for implementing asset and depreciation accounting, recurring entries configuration, currency exchange rates configuration, document splitting configuration, because this document splitting configuration is considered to be very important configuration for the classification of GL accounts. And similarly, tax configuration for purchase and tax configuration of sales in FI module. This tax configuration for purchase will be coming under accounts payable processes, whereas the tax configuration for sales will be coming under accounts receivable processes for customers. So these are all the important roles and responsibilities of SAP FI consultants in the real-time environment, and we have discussed about many different responsibilities of SAP FI consultants in the real-time environment. Apart from that, more important configurations and more important responsibilities from the SAP FI consultants point of view is document splitting, currency exchange rates configuration and tax configuration. I will explain you what is the purpose of this document splitting. Without document splitting, we cannot identify the GL account based on the item category. So this is one of the new feature included in our SAP ECC system. So this document splitting concept plays a very vital role in the classification of GL accounts based on the item category and usage. And one more important configuration is the tax configuration for purchase. Purchase means that is input tax. This purchase comes under accounts payable processes, whereas the sales will be under accounts receivables processes, that is output tax configuration we have to do. So two different tax configurations we have to configure. One is input tax configuration for purchases, that is coming under accounts payable processes, and one more tax configuration we have to configure, that is output tax configuration, that is for accounts receivable processes, that is for our output tax, that is the sales processes. And they are also highly responsible for creating the standard reports, and they are also highly responsible for creating the customized reports. How the reports will be generated in the SAP system? All the reports in the SAP FI system will be generated by using the SAP standard tables, SAP's standard tables. These standard tables are delivered by SAP for creating the customized reports based on the requirements of the clients. And one more important technical areas all the SAP FI consultants should concentrate is that the enhancements, BAPIs and baddies. Because without SAP FI enhancements, they cannot be able to change the standard screen of the SAP FI system. And similarly, they have to have very strong working experience in BAPI, that is Business Application Programming Interface. And also they should have some very strong experience in baddies, that is business add-ins, that is the advanced version of enhancements based on the requirements of the clients. So in the current situation, all the consultants should be highly responsible for handling the technical aspects or technical activities of SAP FI module, namely enhancements. FI enhancements are used for changing the SAP's standard functionality. Similarly, BAPI is an interface, that is Business Application Programming Interface. They should have strong understanding and implementation of BAPIs. And similarly, all the FI consultants should have strong implementation knowledge, or they should have some strong knowledge in baddies, implementing baddies, that is business add-ins, which is the enhanced version of enhancements, or which is the advanced functionality of enhancements. And similarly, they are highly responsible. All the SAP FI consultants are highly responsible for handling standard reports as well as customized reports based on the requirement of the clients using SAP's standard tables. All the tables are supplied by SAP, or in other words, all the tables are predefined tables which are delivered by SAP. So they should have to use these standard tables for creating the customized reports based on the client's requirement. So these are all the important roles and responsibilities of SAP FI consultants in the real-time environment. Without having strong knowledge in the implementation activities, what we have discussed in this SAP FI module, it will be very difficult for the consultants to implement, to support, to execute, and also to design the entire end-to-end FI module for the organization. So in this video, we have clearly discussed about the roles and responsibilities of SAP FI consultants, point number 1, and point number 2, we have discussed about what are all the important configurations to be implemented in our SAP FI system. Point number 3, we have discussed very clearly about the document splitting configuration. This document splitting configuration is used for splitting the GL accounts based on the item category as well as the usage. And one more important configuration we have discussed is about enhancements. And other important concepts what we have discussed are BAPIs and baddies. And also we have discussed regarding the standard reports as well as customized reports using SAP standard tables. Because these standard tables are delivered by SAP, all the functional consultants should have the strong knowledge in analyzing the tables, in analyzing the fields, and creating the reports used on the standard tables. And also all the consultants should be very strong in the tax configuration, because we have already discussed about the tax configuration as well. Because in AR processes we have to create the output tax configuration, that is accounts receivables, Similarly for AP, we have to configure the input tax configuration, that is for purchase. So all the tax configurations are very, very important from the consultant's point of view, as well as the implementation point of view, because without having strong implementation knowledge in the above discussed areas, then it will be very difficult for the consultants to implement and support the entire end-to-end FI module for the organization. So I want to introduce myself to you. I am Raja. I am having more than 20 plus years of experience in the SAP industry. I have worked as a consultant. I have worked as a practice head. I have worked as a delivery head for many crucial projects. I have involved in many implementation projects. I have involved in many production support projects, and also I have involved in many upgrades as well as rollout projects. And regarding my on-site experience, I have more than 5 years of on-site experience in Middle East and Europe, handling European and Middle East clients. And regarding my certifications and certification areas and interests, I have done my certification in finance. I have done my certification in business process planning and consolidation. I have done my certification in S4HANA Simple Finance. I have done my certification in S4HANA Simple Logistics. I have done my certification in SAP Central Finance module of S4HANA. And very recently, I have completed my certification in SAP Business and Revenue Innovation Management of SAP module, that is SAP Hybris Applications. So that's all about myself. So in this video, we have clearly discussed about the roles and responsibilities of SAP FI consultants very clearly. If you have any queries, you just call me to the number given in this PPT. I will clarify all your doubts regarding this SAP FI implementation areas. And in our next video, we will discuss very clearly about the ASAP methodology of implementation as well as Activate methodology of implementation, because in our traditional ECC system, we are using this ASAP methodology for implementing these ECC modules in our system. Similarly, we are using Activate methodology for implementing S4HANA for our clients. So we will discuss in detail about each and every phases of both ASAP methodology as well as Activate methodology in our later videos. Thank you.